Alright, before I go into my thoughts and opinions of Motocross of Nations in 2018 at RedBud, comment down below and let me know what your guys' thoughts were going into the race, coming out of the race, Team France, Team USA, the Netherlands, Herlings, Cairoli, Roczen. Anything you think about the Des Nations, comment down below. Keep it civil. I know this can get kind of heated between fan bases across the sea, so let me know what you think. Comment down below. Here we go. Let's talk Des Nations. So, as you all know, should know at least, Motocross of Nations was just yesterday. Yesterday was race day. This last weekend was the whole event. I wanted to go over some results. Wanted to talk about the track, which I thought was very interesting. Probably one of the bigger points that surprised me. No, there's a lot to go over, so let's just start. So first and foremost, let's start out with a little general thoughts, overview, if you will, before we really get in depth with the discussion points. I'm referencing my phone in case you're wondering, so if you keep seeing it like pop up in my hand, that's where I'm getting all my statistics from. Mostly from RacerX.com. So, generally speaking, surprised, yes. Disappointed, yes, but we'll get into that. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the whole Motocross of Nations. It's not exactly what I would have wanted race-wise, but it's also not exactly what I would have wanted weather-wise, of course, if you watched. But overall, I'm happy. I was very excited to watch it. I think it was good racing. I think it was a good event to watch. There's just some things, like most things, I just wish were a little bit better. Before we get into even this, let me backtrack a little. I promise to YouTube, you guys, as long as I'm running the MotoConvo page, which should be forever, I will never run ads on my videos. Caveat, if I'm doing some kind of like charity giveaway in the future or something like that, or anything like Casey Neistat-esque, then I might run ads and the proceeds would go to something. Or if, like, say someone is looking for funding for they want to do something racing wise, then maybe I'll run an ad and those funds will go to that. But I have zero interest in running ads in my videos and collecting 45 cents in a month, and two, most YouTube video ads suck. So I'm not gonna make you guys suffer through them anyways. So back to the racing. Let's continue our general thoughts. How about that? So I loved watching Herlings. I loved watching Herlings. I loved to watch Herlings. Wow. I think obviously coming into this event, he was the guy that everyone was looking at. Obviously Tomac is the leader, the head guy over here in the US, but he's definitely, like his Instagram post, which we will get into, references him being the fastest man on the planet. Coldenhoff, obviously, if you watched race 3 of MXGP and Open, Coldenhoff was stellar. I mean, he was stellar also in the MX2 and MX2 and Open Class race 2, but especially winning the race 3, I was very impressed with Coldenhoff. I thought Glenn did an excellent job. Cairoli, I've always liked Cairoli and I love watching Cairoli. One of my biggest reasons for wanting to go to Des Nations this year was to somehow, hopefully, meet Cairoli and Herlings and Nagel and a bunch of the European guys that it's a lot less likely that I'll meet them, being that they are over 4,000 miles away most of the time. Roczen surprised me in a bad way. So I'm a big Ken Roczen fan. I've always liked Ken. Like I said before, I think he got a little cocky there before he got his arm hurt, but he bounced back from that, and especially this last moto season, I've become an even bigger Ken Roczen fan. I was only surprised with Roczen because I expected him to be I don't know all the details. It's still so early on that I don't know all the details as to if Ken was having bike issues or what was going on. I haven't heard anything or read anything from Ken as of recording this, but I figured Ken would do a little bit better. I can only assume that Ken had some bike issues because he is obviously grew up in Germany. He's always been a decent mud rider. I just was kind of surprised by Ken. So as we're making this descent into negatives, let's talk about Team USA. Now you guys know that I do not like to or enjoy getting on my moral high horse and or my high horse in general and saying, you know, this or that or anything, everything's below me, I could have done better. That's not true at all. I'm not in any position to have raced Motocross of Nations. That being said, constructively critical I am of the US team. Like many of you, I was a little surprised and a little disappointed by Team USA's showing. It's not that I like those guys any less, it's just it really surprised me that we didn't do as well as I thought we would, especially just to break down each rider's individual motos. I'm most surprised probably by Plessinger. I really thought that AP would be one of, if not the top guy in the MX2 class going in. So for that reason, it really surprised me that it didn't seem like he was really doing well. I mean, it's the MX of Nations and it's a crazy track, but I was still just kind of surprised at the fact that he didn't do as good as I thought. Barsha, I thought he did pretty well. Of course, I like Barsha, I'm a Barsha fan. I would have liked to see Justin do better, as with all the guys. And Tomac, you guys know if you watch the podcast, I'm a fan of Tomac. I'm not a huge fan of Tomac, that's for sure. I've self-admittedly not been a Tomac fan, but I just expected the US to do better overall. Like they've all said in, I think it was the Racer X interview that I watched, or the Racer X post-race podcast show with not Jeff Emmick, that was Jason Wygant. I'm just, like they said, we just got beat. That's just how it is. So I'm not making excuses. I'll never make an excuse for the fact that Cairoli, Hurlings, Coldenhoff, everyone was just better. But I want to talk about the track. Let's talk about the track. So if you've been watching racing for any number of years, you know that RedBud is a staple. If you're around the motocross community, you know that RedBud is a staple in the motocross industry, let alone the motocross world. That being said, I've always liked RedBud. I haven't loved RedBud. This was the first time that I really loved RedBud. Like, I liked the look of the track, which was interesting. And I think AP said it in the Racer X YouTube video that I just mentioned. Not an excuse, not excusing it. Europeans, you just did it. Good job. Congratulations. That said, the track did seem very European. I've never seen so much sand at RedBud. Maybe it's just because of all the rain. It really stood out. Like that one corner, it didn't even look sandy. It just looked like it was just brutal. It was like black mud and sand, and it was the slowest corner on the track just because they just sunk. But that being said, that was, like I said, I've never really loved RedBud. I've always liked the track and I've always wanted to go there, but this was the first time where I'm like, yes, this is an awesome track. I loved the layout. They did the little off the start straight, they did the MXGP style where they go past the mechanics, and then they made those that 180 degree and then that 90 going into what would be the rest of RedBud, the typical track. And I just thought the layout was excellent. The dirt looked excellent. It looked super muddy, but I would still love to ride the track. I think that's my favorite I've ever seen RedBud. But I think that's a good point, that it seemed very European-esque, especially with the rain, just because they get a lot of rain over there. Like I said, it's not an excuse. It's just something that I noted, and I'd kind of been thinking all day. Then AP mentioned it. I don't think he meant it as an excuse either. If he did, I would disagree with it. That it's certainly a good point, I feel, but like Tomac said, they just got beat. So before I kind of wrap this up with my more general thoughts and ideas, I want to discuss this post by the Bullet, Mr. Jeffrey Hurlings. The fastest man on the planet. I would agree. The interesting part is that at first it rubbed me the wrong way. I'm like, that's, you know, kind of cocky and kind of like, yeah, like maybe you are, but like Ricky Carmichael didn't have to say that he was. Everyone just knew Carmichael was the best on the planet. or Stewart. He didn't have to say he was. He might have said it like maybe joking around in an interview or something, but people just knew. So for that reason, it's just different people and different personalities. That's the reason that it kind of rubbed me the wrong way initially. I think that he's not wrong. I would have liked to have seen a dry RedBud just to see all-out speed and all-out ability as opposed to kind of mud riding ability kind of coming into play. I think it would have been more interesting racing. I don't disagree with Herlings. I think he is the fastest man on the planet right now. I'm a huge Cairoli fan, and I'm really excited to see the MXGP season next year. I want to follow that every race just because I love Cairoli, and I really like a lot of the MXGP guys, and obviously I'm never going to stop watching the US guys. It's just different worlds coming together. So do I disagree with Herlings? No. Did I think he needed to say it? I mean, it's okay. It just kind of rubbed me the wrong way at first, and I'm sure it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, especially after this huge event. He's not wrong, I don't think. And one more thing before I wrap this up. This brings me to, and I just thought about this, the fans. Reading the comments on this post. I like to think of the motocross community as a whole as a family, just because it's so tightly knit. Now, like I went into on the Motocritics podcast on Anchor, I hate to see the banter back and forth so much about that. People are just so staunchly stuck in their idea that Tomac would go over there and maybe crack the top 10, or Herlings came over here and beat Tomac and Ironman, and if Herlings came over this or that. I think it's good discussion points. I think there's a lot of discussion to be had there. I think if Herlings or Cairoli came over here, they would have difficulty, but they would do well. I think if Tomac or Roczen went back over there, or Tomac went there, similar to when Villopoto went over there, he did well. I think they would do well. RV won Thailand, which was his second race over there. So I think it's kind of ludicrous to just go back and forth quite so much with opinions that are so unmovable or unrealistic maybe. I just think that it's just different. I agree with everything that I've heard from past racers, like when Tomac said it, RV said it, Herling said it, I'm pretty sure, when he came over in the Ironman last year in Indiana. They're just different worlds. Like, even bikes are set up different, and at that level, I mean, it's just, I think the fans do a disservice at trying to bring people together, but that also creates good drama for entertainment purposes, and I mean, everyone likes for their person to win. So, I mean, it's a give and take, but the staunch, like, super critical, kind of like I said in the Motocritics podcast, it's just, I think it's the worst part of motocross. Take that for what it's worth coming from me. So, in summary, congratulations, France. You guys have won for the 6th year in a row the Motocross of Nations. You guys did an excellent job. It's consistency that wins this event. Not who is even the fastest, like Carmichael said in that interview, is the most consistent and the most present within the leaderboard. Italy, you guys got 2nd, congratulations. And 3rd was the Netherlands, which was awesome for Koldenhoff and Herlings and the Netherlands team, because they were missing a guy, so they had to go off of 2 scores instead of 3, which to get 3rd is pretty impressive. Obviously, they won everything they could have. Congratulations to all those guys. The US ended up 6th. That's by no means terrible. There was a lot of teams there. It was a good racing. Good weekend, good day, good event. Like I said, I would have liked to see the US boys up there more, just because that's my hometown people. I love Herlings, I love Cairoli, I love, you know, Tim Geiser and all those guys, and Noggle, and, you know, DeSalle, everyone. I enjoyed watching all the racing. You of course want your hometown heroes to do better, but that's racing, isn't it? So, bye, I guess.